Hurriyat leaders have proved that they will not change their colours. Let me get you the latest information. Today is the 27th of October. It is being celebrated as Black Day in POK, in Pakistan. And the Hurriyat is celebrating the same. And I'll tell you exactly why their statement is similar to what the Pakistani government is saying today. The Hurriyat leaders, Mirwaiz, Umar, Farooq, have called the Kashmir Accession Day as a Black Day, and separatists continue to toe the Pakistani line. And just imagine, this is what the Foreign Minister of Pakistan, Khwaja Asif, has said today. On the fateful day of 27th October, hostile Indian forces entered the peaceful land of Jammu and Kashmir. In the last 69 years, Kashmiris have been tortured. The indifference of the international community to the plight of Kashmiri people does not help the people of Kashmir. The day we accept that there is no such thing as international law, moral outrage or sanction for crimes against humanity would be a sad day. So, what the Pakistani Foreign Minister is saying is exactly what the Hurriyat is voicing and expressing today. So, do they take their script from Pakistan? The statement is extremely clear and they're saying the same thing, exactly the same thing as the Pakistani Foreign Minister. We'll get you more reactions on this, and this comes at a time when the government has appointed Dineshwar Sharma, a former director of the Intelligence Bureau, to hold talks with all stakeholders. But is this exactly what the Hurriyat is going to be speaking about? Their allegiance to Pakistan, their statements, which are exactly similar to what the Pakistani Foreign Minister is saying. Over here, we have Zeenat, our reporter, joining us on the broadcast. Zeenat, it is strange and sad. This morning, I got a statement from the Pakistani Foreign Ministry saying today is a fateful day, 27th October, when hostile Indian forces entered the peaceful land of Jammu and Kashmir. This is how Pakistan describes it. It is not unusual. For the last 70 years, they've been talking in this manner. But what hurts the most is when people in the Hurriyat who live on Indian soil, enjoy perks from the Indian government, talk like this, talk in the same line as the Pakistani government.
Absolutely, Parikshit. In fact, the Kashmir Valley is today observing a shutdown on the call of the separatist leaders. They have asked people to observe this day as a Black Day because this is a day when you had the accession of the Jammu and Kashmir state with the Union of India. They have asked people to observe not only the complete shutdown but also observe it as a Black Day. Those authorities here have imposed restrictions in the several parts of the city to prevent the protests, but the forces have also deployed at various places, and entry-exit points to the old city in Srinagar have been sealed by the wires and the other security arrangement. We have been seeing the separatist leaders particularly making statements, despite we have now the government of India has already appointed an interlocutor and who has been given a cabinet rank status. So that means the government of India itself is talking now to the separatists, and he has also been, Dinesh Sharma is also being given the free hand so he can include the Hurriyat in it. And now even the Chief Minister also said that the talks needs to be welcomed, as we have to move a step ahead because the state of Jammu and Kashmir, particularly Kashmir, is in such a bloodshed. We have been seeing the people are caught between the bloodshed and the guns. So we have to find the solution. And now the statements coming from the Hurriyat conference for the past continuously for the 2 to 3 days say that they don't believe in the talks because the talks have failed in recent past. Also, their interlocutors come and go. They make their reports, and then the first reports usually gather dust in the cupboards of the parliament. Such bills are never tabled. So now, today, the separatists have called for a shutdown. They have asked people to observe this as a Black Day because this is a day when the state government had it's an accession day also with the Union of India by the state government. So far there has not been any protest reports anywhere because the prayers were still going on. But obviously they have been seeing, particularly on the Fridays after the prayers, the protesters usually go, they throng to the streets, they pelt stones to the security forces. That also creates a law and order situation in such.
All right, just stay with us. Stay with us on the phone line, Zeenat. We have Wahidur Rahman Para joining us. Wahidur Rahman Para, it is shocking when we hear these Hurriyat leaders. They are saying today is a Black Day. They are asking people of Jammu and Kashmir to observe a Black Day because they feel it's a sad day for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Because this was the day that the accession of Kashmir took place. Now, what is strange and shocking, Mr. Para, is that their script is exactly the same as the Pakistani Foreign Minister. He issued a statement this morning condemning India's excesses in Jammu and Kashmir. It was a pack of lies, and today these Hurriyat leaders are saying exactly the same thing.
Well, I will not respond on behalf of Hurriyat, but I think this is a day when Kashmir acceded to the idea of India, and which is, it was a decision being taken by the majority of the people. The will of people has always, people in the mainstream, people in Kashmir in general have always been proud of this decision that we have been part of a secular country, a democratic country. And had this decision been not questioned time and again, I think Hurriyat should also understand the way, the whole idea of accession was done. It only, deepens our belief that, we should continue.
Wahidur Rahman Para, then the simple question, Mr. Wahid, the fact is today the government is extending the hand of dialogue.
करेंगे उनको कोई दिक्कत नहीं हम लोगों को अगर हम तो कह रहे हैं कि देश के संविधान पे विश्वास करें लोकतंत्र पे विश्वास करें आए बात करें
जी दूसरा ये वरिष्ठ पत्रकार है उनको जिस तरह छत्तीसगढ़ पुलिस ने गिरफ्तार किया है कि वो उनके ऊपर आरोप है कि वहाँ के प्रांतीय मंत्री उनको ब्लैकमेल
देखिए ये उन पे आरोप है अभी मैं देख रहा था कि उनको अरेस्ट किया गया है उसके अलग अलग रिएक्शन आ सकती है लेकिन पुलिस जो कार्रवाई करती है तो स्टेट पुलिस का मामला है लॉ एंड ऑर्डर की बात वहीं की आती है उसके बावजूद भी मुझे लगता है कि किसी पत्रकार को ऐसे आरोप में अरेस्ट करना ये दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण नहीं है लेकिन ऐसी बातें नहीं होनी चाहिए थी हुई नहीं हुई वो वहाँ की पुलिस जानेगी इंक्वायरी करेगी और मैं आशा करता हूँ कि उन पे आरोप है ये
All right, let's go back to Wahidur Rahman Para, who's joining us. Wahidur Rahman, a member of the PDP, the ruling PDP. Wahidur Rahman, so what can we expect from the government? If you are in a position of power, how would you make sure that these separatists don't toe the Pakistani line? I have the statement of the Pakistani Foreign Ministry here, and frankly, it's no different.
Look, we are a democratic country and we believe that in a democracy we agree to disagree, but that doesn't really create space that separatists will say whatever they want to say. We are there in a democratic process to listen, to understand, to integrate people and to also address the alienation in Jammu and Kashmir. We are not talking just, to appease people, but we are also trying, there is anger in young generation. We want to address that anger and we want to bring people closer to the rest of the country.
But let's be fair, Wahidur Rahman, don't you believe that statements like these are really derailing the peace process and efforts of the Jammu and Kashmir government? This morning, Zenat was reporting about an ordinance that has been brought in to rein in stone pelters from damaging public property. On one hand, you are bringing a new law, but what do you do about calls like these which are coming from the Hurriyat?
That's the point, that talks and dialogue process will not expose the state of India or the Union of India. It will expose the people who need to be exposed. And that's why we've been continuously and consistently talking. Let's talk. Why are we scared to talk? We should talk and expose the people who are against the whole idea of dialogue and who are doing this hypocrisy in Jammu and Kashmir from last 60 years. It's high time. We are not going to expose them by putting them in restrictions, but holding a dialogue and let people of Jammu and Kashmir understand that the government of India and the people of India are never against the idea of dialogue. The institution of dialogue has been killed by attacks, killed by fear and threats. And that's not being done by state. But
Wahidur Rahman, don't you agree that these are attempts to instigate tension? You're calling it a black day.
The best way to expose.
How do you stop it?
Who are against the idea of dialogue?
Some example has to be set.
Government Kashmir is to hold dialogue and find out their position.
You cannot allow people in the state. There is something called a rule of law. You can't allow people to get up one morning, look what the Pakistani government is saying, and say the same thing.
I think we should not react on their statements. It's better we have a position. The government of India has taken a position on dialogue, on appointment of an interlocutor who is a credible man. Let's give time to our own process and not react what the people who are trying to destabilize this process are trying to do.
Isn't this going to be the challenge? If a person like Dineshwar Sharma is going to hold a dialogue, we know what their stand is going to be. Their stand is what the Pakistani government is saying is absolutely correct.
So let the people of Jammu and
Kashmir. Then what is the point of taking a dialogue with them?
They are not representatives of people, they are representatives of a different country, and that's the whole idea of holding a dialogue. Let the people come to understand who are going to represent them and who are the people who are trying to sabotage the whole process of dialogue. I think it's very important.
But do explain to our viewers. Do explain to our viewers, Waheed Rahman, what stops the Jammu and Kashmir government from taking action against such statements? After all, your party is in power. It is the ruling party with the BJP. A lot could have been done. Why should the PDP be sympathetic to such statements?
A lot is already being done. Please don't jump to conclusions. We are in process of, this is a 60 years old problem. We are trying to, initiate a political process by involving the people of Jammu and Kashmir. You have an alliance which has, BDP-BJP alliance, which is an historic alliance in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. It has never been happened. You had a significant development taking place in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. But you need to give peace and you need to give time and trust to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, to the government of Jammu and Kashmir. If you continuously question our every intention and every act, you cannot have a sustained peace process. And it's not something that has not happened for 60 years, cannot happen in 6 weeks or 6 months. We are in process of integrating, addressing the alienation. We are trying to bring a generation of Jammu and Kashmir closer to the people of India, to the people of the country. And we want to address the pain and sentiment which is on the ground. I think it's important that one more country not push it into violence and into the gun culture. That we will be doing no good service to the idea of country or the idea of accession. If you want to do so,
very quickly, very briefly,
it is important that we win the people.
Very briefly, in a short answer, will you take action against Mirwaiz Umar Farooq for what he has said today?
I haven't seen his tweet yet, but it's just what you said. Let us see. I mean, it's not a political party which is going to take decision on such things. There is an institutional mechanism, but I will still request you, we are a democratic country. Let's, create space for disagreements, but at the same time, let's ensure that people are not taking advantage of that democracy.
Waheed Rahman, that is exactly the problem. How long will we allow such statements to continue? This is happening despite pressure from the United States on Pakistan, despite so much awareness about where terror is actually coming from. Waheed Rahman, thanks very much for joining us on this story.
One lobby which always wants to do everything to deride the idea of India is now saying that standing up for the national anthem is a meaningless ritual. How dare you, sir? How dare you use these phrases so freely in this country? The person sitting to my left has stood up for the North Korean national anthem a few weeks back.
I'll stand up for the Indian
national anthem too.
But in the proper place.
But he will not stand up for the Indian
stand up for the national anthem in a toilet.
G.D. Bakshi ji rightly pointed out, in an age when there is a whole, war